Next on Arizona Horizon, we'll hear from strategists from both political parties on the expected end to the government shutdown. Also tonight, we'll hear about a new device that can more easily and effectively replace damaged heart valves for at-risk patients. And a new facility offers hope to low-income children and families. Those stories and more next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your public television station.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. Arizona Congresswoman Adelita Grijalva was sworn into office today.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that you will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that you take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which you are about to enter, so help you God?
I do.
Congratulations, you're now a member of the 119th Congress.
Grijalva was admitted to Congress by the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, who delayed the swearing-in by more than 7 weeks after Grijalva won a special election to fill the House seat held by her late father, Raul Grijalva.
It has been 50 days since the people of Arizona's 7th Congressional District elected me to represent them. 50 days that over 800,000 Arizonans have been left without access to the basic services that every constituent deserves. This is an abuse of power. One individual should not be able to unilaterally obstruct the swearing in of a duly elected member of Congress for political reasons.
It indeed was the longest such delay in modern U.S. history, with the Speaker denying admittance while the House was out of session due to the government shutdown. But there's now a deal to end the shutdown, and today the Speaker said, no hard feelings.
I really like this lady. She's going to be an excellent member of Congress. She's a great person. I just told her on the way in that she fills her father's shoes, or she's going to try. No one can.
No one can.
He was a giant around here, served a long time, served his state very well. I served under him in the Natural Resources Committee for a while and admired the way he did the work. He was tenacious. So she has a proud family legacy, and we're delighted to have her here.
But Congresswoman Grijalva wasted no time putting another challenge in front of the Speaker by signing a petition to force a vote to release the Jeffrey Epstein files.
House Democrats released more emails showing that Trump knew more about Epstein's abuses than he previously acknowledged. It's past time for Congress to restore its role as a check and balance on this administration and fight for we, the American people. That's what the American people expect us to do. Fight for them. That is why I will sign the discharge petition right now to release the Epstein files.
Adelita Grijalva, now officially the first Latina, the first Chicana to represent Arizona in the House of Representatives. And the U.S. House is set to vote tonight on a bill that will end the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. The move comes after a group of Senate Democrats broke ranks and negotiated a deal with Republicans to end the shutdown. Joining us now to look at the political fallout from all this, Matt Grodzki, co-founder of Matters of State Strategies, and Wes Gullett, CEO of OH Strategic Communications. Gentlemen, good to have you both here. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
All right, Matt, left side of the aisle here, your angle. Did the Dems fold, and if so, why?
The Dems didn't fold. We had some senators that went rogue and walked into a glass door because they took a bad deal that didn't include a fix to the premiums, right? So I think broadly the party has a lot of stuff to look forward to, and from a messaging perspective, because now you got to hold the Republicans accountable on having this vote, and if they do have the vote, make sure that they're actually voting the right way to protect Americans. I think the other obnoxious component of this for folks in my seat is you had a week that you're coming off of big wins from last Tuesday. We couldn't even get 7 days before we stepped on ourselves a little bit. So I think it comes back to this is why you have to move as one body instead of 7 individuals and 1 independent.
What do you think, Wes? Did you think the Dems caved on this one, capitulated?
Well, I think they made a terrible mistake. They put us through the longest shutdown in American history only to do exactly what they could have done on the very first day of the shutdown. It is outrageous that we had to go through this, put people through it, have SNAP benefits denied to people who are hungry. It's unbelievable. And then for the Democrats to cave, and then for the Democrats not to be able to articulate anything is ridiculous.
Have the Democrats been able to successfully articulate what they did then and now?
I think they've been successful at articulating it through the entire process. It's not the Democrats' shutdown. It's the Republicans' shutdown. They own the government. This is the president who's tried to exacerbate pain at the federal government level since he took office, right? So I don't agree with the standpoint that this is somehow in Democrats' court. The other thing is we've been winning the polling on this. A lot of Americans have understood our position, and I think that was evident in the results from last Tuesday.
So if you're winning the polling on this and you had success in the last election, what happened?
Well, you'd have to ask those 8 individuals that decided to have a little bit of fun on Sunday night.
Well, what happened, Ted, was we found out who the most powerful people in America are, and that's the air traffic controllers. As soon as they quit working, we go back to work. America does. And so in the future, why don't we just call the air traffic controllers and say, what should we do? Because they're controlling what we're going to end up doing.
I want to get back to the deal, though. Should Democrats trust Republicans when they pledge that they will hold a vote on these extended subsidies for ACA, these pandemic era subsidies, when they say, okay, as part of the deal, we will vote for it, A, and B, is there any sense that that vote will succeed?
No, it's posturing that is ridiculous, because they're not going to, if they get a vote in sometime in the future, who knows when, they're going to lose the vote. And if it goes over to the House, even if they win in the Senate, it goes over to the House is not going to do that. So it's a meaningless polemic thing, and the Democrats can't even explain it. And so, it's just unbelievable. What we need to really re-examine where we are as a country and what we're doing, and throw all the bums out.
Well, there's an argument for that, and that's a different segment on a different program. But you're a Democrat. Can you explain it?
Yeah, I can absolutely explain it. The Democratic Party is trying to get the Republicans to do the right thing. To answer your question, no, you can't trust them at all. They've absolutely deceived the American people when it comes to affordability, when it comes to protecting health care. And yeah, people like to say we're in the political wilderness right now ever since 2024. That might be true, but as last week's election showed, we're making progress against that. But we're trying to show that there's a right way to do things and there's a wrong way to do things. The Republican Party is choosing time and time again to hurt people and do the wrong thing.
Yeah, and I want a better answer than a group of Republicans. Go ask them. They decided to have fun on a Sunday night. What really happened?
Sure. I think these are individuals that aren't up for election.
And where was the leader?
Right. Well,
where was the leader?
Yeah. Well, they weren't up for re-election. There was not a lot of risk to them. And that's why I think you saw folks like Kane split with his counterpart in the Senate and was like, look, I don't have a lot to lose here. Again, we talk about the air traffic controllers, which is obviously something we should be sympathetic for. But I think these are individuals that felt they had enough room to buck the party, which I think was a huge mistake.
Please.
There needs to. The problem the Democrat Party has right now is a lack of leadership. They're not solidly in step on message. They're not solidly in step on holding the line. They're not solidly in step for anything. And they have a brilliant opportunity to change, like they did in Virginia, to make significant change. But they can't do it because they can't. It's like a circular firing squad. It's unbelievable.
But can you argue that Republicans are solidly in step?
Oh, 100%.
With a bunch of things that the American public increasingly is saying, we're getting sick of this.
Well, we'll see about that. We'll see about that in the midterm elections, because the difference is the Republicans have the ability to quickly and simply put their message on a hat. Make America great again. And that guy is not going anywhere. So and the Democrats can't answer that. And that's the problem. The Democrats need to be able to answer that. What do we want? How do you get, you can't explain it in 20 minutes. You got to explain it in 2 seconds.
Right, an elevator explanation. It can be argued that people are choosing MAGA, Republican Party policies. What's happening? They may not be all that happy about. We just talked about this earlier in the week regarding evangelicals starting to quietly quit Trump and MAGA. But where did they feel like they have nowhere to go?
Well, I think that's the opportunity for Democrats in battleground states, right? You got to go get those swing voters, those disaffected voters, and persuade them to come into our tent. I think the broader issue, which I think Wes has hit on a little bit here, we have a problem traditionally with messaging in this era, right? But we're the alternative. And I think to our benefit in the midterms, there's this consistent whiplash with the electorate. They're always mad at who's in power, right? So they're going to keep going back and forth. It's incumbent on us to eventually legislate in a way where they can see the tangible difference. And we have to communicate what that vision of America looks like.
So from a Democratic perspective here, winners and losers from this whole shutdown business.
I think the losers are the American people from the standpoint that their premiums are going through the roof and the party in power has no plans to do anything about it.
I think the Democrats had a huge, disastrous loss, and they need to get their act together quickly, because you can't. It's not sustainable, and the Republicans are going to ride roughshod over them.
All right, Wes Gullett, Matt Grotzky, good conversation. Good to have you both here. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bet. I was supposed to say.
I'm Chef Mark Tarbell. Welcome to Check Please Arizona, the show where Arizona residents recommend their favorite restaurants.
Thursday night at 7 on Arizona PBS.
From free Shakespeare in the Park, enter a land of disguises, surprises, and sheer comic delight.
Sweet lady!
When a star-studded cast brings the ultimate love triangle to life. 12th Night on Great Performances.
Friday night at 8 on Arizona PBS.
Next time on Father Brown, when a man comes to town with his daughter, he's murdered. His daughter is accused of the crime.
Please, Father, help me.
And while Father Brown believes she's innocent, proving it will be extremely difficult. Father Brown.
Saturday night at 7 on Arizona PBS.
The FDA recently approved a new device that can more easily and effectively replace damaged heart valves for patients previously considered too sick for surgery. To learn more, we welcome the first cardiologist to use this specialized device, Dr. Paul Saraja of Banner University Medical Center in Phoenix. Doctor, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. And congratulations on this. Sounds like this is going great guns. So this is to replace damaged heart valves. First of all, what are the heart valves? What do they do?
So the heart valves, thanks so much for having me. The heart valves are life-saving pieces of our heart that keep blood moving in the correct direction. And when a patient gets older, they can become diseased such that they can't open or close properly. And when that happens, it becomes life-threatening.
And there's something called MAC, right, and which involves calcium around the valves. Talk to us about that.
So MAC stands for mitral annular calcification. It's a process in which there's some inflammation that goes on in the body, and it affects the heart such that the mitral valve, which is one of the most important valves in the heart, cannot open or close properly because it becomes calcified.
And this makes it difficult. Does the calcium, the calcification, does that make it difficult to do surgery?
It does. It does. See, the calcification becomes so severe that when a surgeon tries, using a traditional approach, tries to go in and tries to cut or remove or sew into it, that part of the calcification can actually cause the heart to tear, and even in worst case scenarios to simply fall apart and lead to a patient's demise.
All right, this is where you come in, and something called Tendyne, a device called Tendyne. What is Tendyne?
So Tendyne is one of the first transcatheter mitral valve replacement technologies, and it's a technology that is inserted going through the rib spaces on the left side of the chest. The surgeon makes a small incision about the size of your thumb, and with that, they then pass the valve into the heart, and the heart never stops. There's no heart-lung machine or anything that causes standstill. And then when that valve is put into place, the surgeon doesn't have to really interact with that calcification to a significant degree, and the whole valve is replaced.
So, but if the valve is replaced, does the old valve stay in there? Does this cover that? How does that work?
Yeah, so the old valve, which is pretty calcified, it's mobilized by the new valve. So it's kind of like almost like a Russian doll. Yeah. So one goes inside the other and pushes the other one out of the way.
How interesting. Yeah. Okay, and again, this goes through the ribs, size of the thumb incision, as opposed to cracking open the entire chest.
Correct, correct. Surgeons don't like to call it cracking open. they like to call it a nice stitch and sew, but it doesn't involve a sternotomy. That's correct.
And how much of a difference does that make in terms of just the safety of the surgery?
So what we found is that the safety is excellent. Almost all of the patients did perfectly well. Very few adverse events, and the patients who went through the procedure had improvements in quality of life that lasted throughout the entire study period.
How long a procedure? How long does it take?
So the nice thing about this procedure, it takes about an hour, and the patients are in the hospital about 5 or 6 days, and then they go home after that.
I was going to say recovery would be different than the what you call it here up and down.
Some people call it a zipper,
yes,
or you know, a chainsaw, but it's really not that. A sternotomy is an incision that's very safe and been around for decades. The recovery from this procedure, which is what we call left thoracotomy, is much quicker.
Okay, this is good, obviously, for the MAC and the calcification and stuff. What if you don't have MAC? You don't have that calcium. Yeah. Can you still do this?
We still can. The first indication for this technology was for patients with severe MAC, and the reason why is because these patients traditionally don't have good options for surgery or any options for transcatheter therapy.
And these patients are usually what, elderly? How does that work?
Yes, they're elderly. It's a disease of elderly patients. Sometimes patients who are younger, even in their 60s, can have this condition. But typically, this is a condition that affects patients around age 80.
This kind of comes on a little slowly, maybe? I mean, is it?
Correct.
And can be monitored by the doctors?
Correct. It's something that's easily detectable in the office with traditional imaging. An ultrasound of the heart or a CT scan is traditionally done to make the diagnosis.
The clinical studies now, from what I've read here, like 9 out of 10 people with this showed significant improvement in quality of life?
That's right. That's right. So the impact was very significant. And traditionally, what we say is that most of the time patients can detect small differences. Here, the order of magnitude of benefit was several-fold what they can detect.
Wow. And FDA approved when? When did that happen?
It occurred this summer.
This summer. Okay.
Yeah.
That means this is available for whoever wants to buy it, right? I mean, is that how that works?
It requires a special team.
Sure.
It requires a particular training. So initially, this technology, similar to some other technologies, is going to start out at some specialized centers, about 60 or 65 in the U.S. Here in Arizona, Banner will be one of them, very importantly. And once that starts going, we would expect it to spread a little bit further.
Can you use this kind of technology on other conditions?
So there's similar valves that are deployed this way, but this technology is very specific for patients with MAC.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, so the idea of going through the ribs, we'll keep it to that for now, right?
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
very
right.
good. Well, congratulations
Thank
on this.
you.
This must feel great to know that this is working and that you're getting this done.
Thank you. We've been at it for almost a decade, and to have this as an option for our patients who don't have good options, it's really, really satisfying.
Dr. Paul Saraja, again, Banner University Medical Center in Phoenix. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for having me.
I'm Jeff Bennett. Tonight on the NewsHour, the longest ever government shutdown moves closer to an ending with action both at Capitol Hill and the White House. That's at 6 on Arizona PBS.
Child Crisis Arizona recently opened a new center that offers a variety of programs ranging from foster care and adoption services to art and music therapy, all for low-income children and families. Tori Taj is the CEO of Child Crisis Arizona. She joins us now. Good to see you.
Great to see you as well.
Congratulations on this.
Thank you. It's been a year.
I was going to say, how's it feel having this thing open?
Incredible. We're really excited, and we have just done so much in the last year. So
now this is a new center in Mesa. What is offered here that either wasn't offered before or was limited in its offerings before?
So we have a lot of different nonprofits who have joined us at the Center for Child and Family Wellness. We have everything from arts, music. We have a technology hub. So we grew intentionally and needed more space.
How does it work? If, let's say, I'm running a nonprofit that specializes in something, and I see you guys and I want to be a part of this, how does it work?
You call us up, you email us, you ask us, how can we get involved? And if we're going to ask some questions, if you are serving children and families in our neighborhood, we want you there, especially if they're low income.
And this neighborhood is where? East Mesa, West Mesa?
Headquartered in Mesa. We are at Rio Salado and Country Club, 85201.
Okay, I got you. All right. Must it be a family or a child below the federal poverty line or preferred?
Preferred, but we're serving all families in the neighborhood. And so we're in the neighborhood that needs us.
Yeah. And how does it change everything from foster care, as we mentioned, to adoption services? How does this change what you do?
Well, it just kind of expands our footprint, and we're really the infrastructure for not just ourselves in serving children and families. We're inviting other nonprofits. We're not seeing them as competitors. We are collaborating with them. We're inviting them into our new center so that they can do services alongside us.
Are they seeing themselves as collaborators, or is there still a little bit of that competition going on?
There's a lot of collaboration going on.
The collaboration is winning right now?
Yes.
And when we talk about services, we talk about adoption, we talk about foster care, also art, music, these sorts of things happening there?
Absolutely. We've got lots of other entities providing everything from, Zumbini, Zen It Out, mindfulness classes, ballet, you name it, and there are other nonprofits doing their services.
Speaking of other nonprofits, I noticed that a graphic design program with Devin Booker, the Sun star Devin Booker, starting 5 grant. That's involved here? What's that all about?
Well, we did a capital campaign for the building, and Devin Booker and the Phoenix Suns were a very generous contributor. So there is a room with that logo on it, and we've got, great things happening inside of that room.
And that's a graphic design program in there.
It is, and so we're doing technology inside that room and everything from 3D printing to just helping the community learn about technology.
Well, it looks really nice in there. I mean, my goodness, that's pretty good looking stuff there. And also, Ballet Arizona kind of involved with, got a little collaboration there going, and so now, you can teach some ballet lessons, huh?
We do. We have partnered with Ballet Arizona for a while, and they come in and they teach our kids from our group home, our shelters, and the children that we're serving ballet classes, but they also open their doors and their classes to the community.
Yeah.
And so they are able to have people sign up and come in, and there's all sorts of classes. It's not just ballet.
So this is families and children. So this is really all-encompassing, isn't it?
It really is. It's a benefit to the community, and the community has won. There are so many more services that are happening under one roof in the area that really needs it.
And this is under one roof that is sustainable. We had talked about this a long time ago, back when this was just a twinkle in everyone's eye, twinkle in your eye.
Yes.
This is a net zero campus. What does that mean?
One of our values is sustainability. And so we want to produce more energy than we utilize. And so we are doing that now. There is solar involved. We are capturing water. We put cisterns underneath the building before we put the building in. We have used light differently, and really everything about this building was very intentional. We had biophilic design, so where the indoors and outdoors merge together, there are green areas, and it's a beautiful site.
How difficult was it to get all that stuff in line and together?
Well, we have an incredible team, a great architect, and so we were able to do it. So we're really excited. Even our kitchen is carbon neutral.
I was going to say basic needs, centralized kitchen, food distribution. We saw the administrative space. It's all right there, and you're open now, right?
We've been open for over a year now.
Over a year?
Over a year.
Holy smokes, where have we been? I thought we just talked about this a year ago.
Well, we've been busy, and we've got more than 25 partners today inside the center.
Where can we learn more?
Oh, childcrisisaz.org.
Childcrisisaz.org. All right, Tori Taj, Child Crisis Arizona. That's a beautiful facility. Congratulations on that, and thanks for sharing. We appreciate it.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
You bet. And that's it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Coming up tonight at 7. At 8. At 9.
Hi, I'm Catherine Anaya, host of Horizonte. Have you signed up for the Arizona PBS Conexión e-newsletter? Visit azpbs.org/Conexión to subscribe to the monthly resource created to serve Arizona's vibrant Hispanic community. Conexión highlights Latino-focused Arizona PBS programming and features learning resources for kids, details on upcoming events, important headlines, and a brief column from yours truly.
From free Shakespeare in the Park, enter a land of disguises, surprises, and sheer comic delight. Sweet lady! When a star-studded cast brings the ultimate love triangle to life. 12th night on Great Performances.